Hello and welcome to the Drawhunter. I am your charming host, Kevin Cleary, and this is the only soccer gambling podcast where we don't pick any winners. We hunt for the stalemate. We hunt for the result that pays better, the draw. We are hunting for what some people claim is the most frustrating result in professional soccer, especially if you're rooting for one of the two teams playing in the game. But I like to bet the draw because draws happen a lot. 30% of all professional matches end in a draw. And it's like this every season. It's worldwide. It's in every major league and all the international competitions. So that's not random. It's not a fluke. It's a probability. There's a pattern. And identifiable patterns are exploitable for gamers like us. And that is if you do your identifying and your probabilities correctly. Then you find the hidden value draws where the market is pricing outcomes too heavily towards the favorites or volatility. These are the games where parity pays off for us. And even if you want to bet on winners, and I don't blame you if you do, I do that too, running down the games through this kind of perspective is still a valuable handicapping tool. And handicapping and sports betting, it's all about information. It's all about getting as much information as you can get, as you can gather, so that you make correct decisions. And if you're listening to the Drawhunter podcast, congratulations. You're already ahead of the curve. So let's talk about our winners from the last episode, our Major League Soccer opening day special episode last Thursday. We had the game Austin FC versus Minnesota United. They ended in a draw, and that was 2-2, and it was at a price of plus 230. And I actually pulled up my quote from this game when I was handicapping it. I said, quote, defensive vulnerabilities on both sides support both teams to score, and that's usually good for a 1-1 or a 2-2 possibility. With neither team a trustworthy closer, late equalizers are very live. This is a sneaky strong draw angle at a fair price, close quote. And both teams went out and did exactly that. The game was tied 1-1 at halftime. Austin pulled ahead at the 76th minute, and Minnesota scored the equalizer at the 90th minute. To quote a great man, I love it when a plan comes together. But you know what? We lost a game that way on Saturday, too, when Orlando scored the winner in a tied game that we would have won at the 96th minute of 5 minutes of stoppage time. I'm sorry, but I'm a superstitious guy. Sometimes when they say 5 minutes and the game just keeps going on for minutes after the 5 are done, I know I am screwed then. It is one of the laws of nature, like gravity. I think we've all been there in this game, no matter which side or draw you bet on. The game just keeps going, and the result that you had in the hand, in the bag, just vapors away. We also had the Cologne versus Hoffenheim game in the Bundesliga. That one ended 2-2 also. That one was plus 280, and I said that was going to be a good deal. Then on Sunday, we had the Galaxy versus New York City FC. That one finished a 1-1 draw, and that was plus 250. All in all, a nice weekend for betting the draw. So let's get into the games and the picks for the midweek action. These fixtures combine low scoring averages, balanced possession rates, historical draw frequency, and market pricing that combine to give us the contrarian value we are looking for when making a draw bet. The games I'm talking about this episode take place February 24th, 25th, and 26th, 2026. Actually, I take that back, although we're covering those 3 days. There were not a lot of potential. I didn't really see a lot of draws happening in the Champions League games on Tuesday and Wednesday. That just the math ain't mathin' for us there. But we do have some contenders on Thursday in the Europa League. We have first up, we have FC Victoria Plzen versus Panathinaikos. Boy, I always hope I pronounce those games correctly. This is a home game for Plinzen, and they are plus 155. Pana is plus 190, and the draw is plus 225. These numbers always change. I'm a few days ahead of the game, so these numbers always change as we get into the game. Check them before making any bets. Goals for and goals against. Victoria, they've scored 10 goals in this competition, and they've allowed 5 goals to be scored. Pana has scored 13 goals, and they've allowed 10 goals to be scored. So they can both score. Pana concedes a little bit more than Victoria. Head-to-head history between these two games. Well, look at this. The last two games, and we actually called the last game to be a draw between these two teams last week. And they're on our list again this week because the last two games, literally the only games they've ever played against each other, have ended in a draw. 2-2 last week, and then 0-0 in Athens in the Europa League action a year or so ago. The first leg of this tie was very tight and low scoring. We've got two compact, disciplined sides with a recent history of low totals and some stalemates, with the aggregate likely close and away goal dynamics gone from the competitions. Both can live with a 1-1 or 0-0 deep into the second half and end this game in extra time or penalties. Strong structural draw profile, especially if neither side chases goals recklessly. Next up, we've got a game in Budapest where we've got Ferencváros versus Ludogorets. And this is a home game at Groupama Arena in Budapest for Ferenc. And they are plus 140. Ludogorets is plus 220. The draw is plus 230. Ferenc has the ball about 47% of the time. Ludogorets has the ball about 46% of the time. So they're both very even when it comes to ball possession rates. The goals scored and goals against tell a different story here. Ferenc has 13 goals scored, and they've given up 13 goals in this competition. Ludogorets has scored 14 goals, but they have given up 16 goals in this competition. They're both very strong in their leagues, but they play a more conservative game in the European Championships. Head-to-head history, they've only played 4 times in their lifetime. There's been 1 draw out of the 4 lifetime games, which is very statistically average. They've got a familiarity from prior qualifiers with each other, and they do play some tight, low-margin games historically. They are 2 regional powers, and they are used to this level of play in Europe. They've got similar quality and styles. Neither usually blows the other away. So that's why we think this is a good draw, especially this is a second leg with a close aggregate. So anything can happen here, but we're going to go with the draw and see how it goes. So next up, we've got Celta Vigo versus PAOK, and this game is being played in Balados, Vigo, and they are the home team, and they are a minus 120. They're definitely the favorite here. PAOK is plus 350. The draw is plus 260. Ball possession rates, guess what? They both have the ball about 48% of the time. Celta has scored 17 goals in this competition. They've allowed 12 goals to be scored on them. PAOK has scored 18 goals in this competition. They've allowed 16 goals to be scored. So they both can score. They both can concede. They've got a very limited, they've played the one game that I know of last week. But PAOK are used to grinding Spanish trips. I see this game going along this kind of a line where Celta will have the ball and PAOK will sit in and counter. And that's a classic 1-1, 0-0 setup if Celta aren't clinical and PAOK nick a set piece or a counter goal. Structurally, this is a nice draw candidate. Next up, we've got KRC Genk and versus GNK Dynamo Zagreb. And this is a home game for Genk. They are plus 135. Zagreb is plus 220. The draw is plus 230. And like that last game, guess what? They both have the ball about 49% of the time. They both know how to score. Genk has scored 14 goals in this competition. Zagreb has scored 13 goals. Genk has a stronger defense. They've allowed 8 goals scored, whereas Zagreb is actually underwater, and they have allowed 19 goals to be scored. Head-to-head history, 1 out of the last 3 was a draw, very statistically average. They're similar level clubs. Their prior European meetings have been very competitive and low margin. This is a very even tie between 2 seasoned European sides. Neither is likely to go full chaos in a second leg unless forced to by the aggregate. I think 1-1 is a very central outcome at these prices. I also like the under for this game. And I like both teams to score for this game also. And those were our 3 Europa League games. We've got one here for the UEFA Conference League on Thursday. And you might remember these names from last week also. HNK Rijeka versus Ammonia Nicosia. And this is the home game, the flip game from last week's draw that we called. Which did not happen. Rijeka squeezed out a winning goal for a 1-0 result last time, and it was towards the end of the game, and they wound up getting a red card right after it, and then they parked the bus and just protected the game and took home the 3 points. But the ball possession rates are they're still the same teams. Rijeka has the ball about 49% of the time. Ammonia has the ball about 48% of the time. In this competition, Rijeka's scored 6 goals. They've allowed 2. Ammonia's scored 5 goals. They've allowed 5. They only had played that once now, but they're still very similar level clubs. They're both comfortable in structured, low-risk football in Europe. And I really don't think either side is clearly superior here. So 0-0, 1-1 is a strong corridor. And the draw price is pretty fair, almost generous, actually. So there you have it. Now, let's quickly review these picks for you in case you didn't write anything down when the broadcast started. We've got Victoria Plzen versus Panathinaikos in the Europa League. Again, first leg history between these two is notoriously low event. Both sides play compact, risk-averse football and knockout away-home dynamics. Pana especially suppresses the tempo when they're playing in European games. Number 2, Ferencváros versus Ludogorets. 2 very evenly matched Eastern European sides with long histories of tight qualifiers. We've got Genk versus Dynamo Zagreb in the Europa League. Both are seasoned European clubs with a similar quality and tactical discipline. Last up, we've got Celta Vigo versus PAOK. Celta dominate possession, but they struggle to convert. PAOK are one of Europe's most disciplined away leg defensive teams. This is a stylistic clash that naturally compresses the scoring, and that's why I think we're going to get a draw there. And then lastly, we've got Rijeka versus Ammonia in the Conference League. And again, 2 compact, similarly rated sides. Both tend to play low-event football in Europe. So tell me, did I make a good case for these draws this week? Email me and let me know what you think. That's it for this episode of The Drawhunter. I am still your charming host, Kevin Cleary. New episodes drop twice a week. Mondays like this one for all the midweek action. Thursdays for the weekend slate, so we'll see you again on Thursday. Once again, please subscribe to our show. You can do it at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts or wherever you got this podcast today. And if you have any questions, comments, especially on my picks, like I asked before, here's that email address. You can email us at drawhunterpodcast@gmail.com. From the entire Drawhunter team, thank you for listening. And remember, there is no stopping it. Draws happen. Gambling involves risk. Please gamble responsibly. This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. No guarantees are made regarding results or financial gain. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. You must be of legal age to participate in gambling activities. Check your local laws and regulations before placing any bets. Lastly, this podcast was made by humans.